Good evening. Welcome to the January 12th, 2021 meeting of Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh?
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the township clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, publishes a legal notice in the Suburban Trends newspaper, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with township policy. Information on remote access to the meeting was posted on the bulletin board, front door, and accessible entrance of the municipal building and on the township website.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the
republic
for which it
stands,
one nation,
under
God,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Amen. The clerk will please call the roll.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Here.
Mr. Hurd?
I am here.
Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Phelan?
Here.
Mayor Russell?
Here.
We have a quorum.
For anyone who hasn't participated in one of our remote meetings, I'm going to ask Mr. Brewer to review the format of the meeting. Mr. Brewer?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. As is evident by anybody who's participating, this meeting is being held via Zoom. At various points throughout the agenda, there is invitation for public comment. Additionally, the mayor and council may choose to open the meeting for public comment. If that should come to be and anyone wants to participate, I ask that you raise your hand to be recognized, and you'll be invited to participate in the meeting. If you have an issue with raising your hand during one of those public participation periods, I will be monitoring the Q&A section. Please also make a comment there. Thank you, Mayor.
There are no presentations scheduled for this evening. We'll move on to reports from volunteers. At this time, if there are reports or comments from any of the volunteers serving our community, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized.
Mayor, there are no hands raised.
The next item on the agenda is public comments. This public comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period for public comment is reserved later in the meeting. Individuals are requested to limit their questions and comments to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized and provide your name and address for the record.
Mayor, there are no hands raised.
Ms. Marsh, have any written comments been submitted?
There are none.
There being no additional public comments, we will continue on with the agenda. The next item on our agenda is the manager's report. Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, Mayor. Within my report, I have a couple of quick items. One, as was previously discussed and is scheduled for the council's consideration this evening, is a resolution authorizing the execution of an easement for a fence at 3 Marvin Road. Background on this is there's been a fence on about 150 square feet of municipal property for decades. There was an agreement struck in 2000 to memorialize an easement that was never actually perfected. So we are working to have that perfected now. Additionally, I wanted to report back to the council and the public that the second round of the 2020 lead and copper testing results are in. 3 of the 60 homes exceeded the 15 parts per billion for lead, so no additional notification to the residents is required. As the council may recall, 7 or more would require public notice. The results are consistent with the results that we've gotten the last 3 times, where we don't believe there is any presence of lead in the system. We believe it's associated with fixtures in people's houses. Additionally, the trihalomethanes and haliocytic acids, which were the subject of public notice previously, all remain within a level that does not require any public notice. Unless there are any other questions or comments, that concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Quick question, Adam. Those 60 homes on the water, do we test the same 60 homes or do we change the 60 homes?
The 60 homes is meant to be static, but there are things that have come up along the testing procedure. For example, a couple of people responded back to the water department that they had water softeners. And if you have a water softener, you're not supposed to participate. But maybe in the past sampling, they didn't realize that. So there have been 3 or 4 that have been shifted out. But for the most part, the overwhelming majority are the same homes. And interestingly, we've tested 4 times now, and some of the homes that previously exceeded didn't, and some of the homes that now exceeded the 15 parts per billion didn't exceed before.
Interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anybody else? Okay, the next item on our agenda is public hearings, and there are no public hearings scheduled for this evening. And we also, next on the agenda are ordinance for introductions, and there are no ordinance scheduled for introduction at this time either. We will move on. And we have resolutions for approval. The next agenda item is resolutions. Ms. Marsh.
The council's consideration, beginning with resolution R 2021-55, granting a fence easement over a portion of block 302 lot 1, aka block 2701 lot 7, contiguous to block 212 lot 2, also known as block 2306 lot 2 or 3 Marvin Road. R 2021-56, confirming the designated membership in the Pequannock Township Fire Department. That's for Joshua Aparo. And R 2021-57, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the January 8th, 2021 bill list.
Are there any comments on the resolutions from council?
No, good.
Good. Is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make that motion to adopt resolution R 2021-55 through R 2020-57. And I'd like to also congratulate Joshua Arparo.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Hurd,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Phelan,
Yes.
Mayor Russell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next is items for discussion. There are no items listed for discussion. We move on to reports and notices. There are no reports or notices. This is moving right along. The next item on our agenda is council reports and announcements. Councilwoman Florence Lynch.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The only things I was going to mention is about the new committees for the year. Just going to mention the ones I'm covering and the dates, but I did have a question for, I guess it would be maybe the clerk, Ms. Marsh, or the town manager. As far as the committees for the beginning of the year, do the current chairs automatically, when I say current chairs, is it the chairs from last year who initiate the new meetings for the year, or does something go out from the clerk? I just want to make sure. I know in the past I've had issues where people were waiting for the town or the liaison to say, hey guys, get a meeting going. So I just wondered what was customary. Is it usually the chair from last year that just does it again for the next year until they reorg, or is there another process for that first meeting?
I think it's typically, it is not me, I've never done that. But I think it's typically the chair, or if there's a staff liaison, or it can be the council liaison.
All right,
Oftentimes the chair or the secretary has been doing it for years and they just continue doing it.
But I know there's been some changes, so I guess I'll just reach out if I don't hear, is what I'm saying.
I don't think it's inappropriate for the liaison to do it either.
Right, okay. So
Melissa, I believe the Parks and Rec has been postponed till next month.
Okay, and that's what I was going to say. So the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, they normally meet the first Monday of the month. I'll be the liaison for that. So I am assuming our next meeting is February 1st at 7 p.m., which is a Monday. As far as the Flood Control Advisory Committee, I'll also reach out to see if they plan on holding a meeting, which would be the second Thursday of the month at 7:30. So that would be January 14th. The Economic Development Advisory Committee, if they are going to meet, that's always the fourth Wednesday of the month. So that should be scheduled for January 27th at 7:30. And then the only other thing I was going to bring up, I can follow up with Carol tomorrow. As you know, there's a shift with the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee. I did get a reach out from the current chair. She just wanted to know moving forward. I don't think they have the ability to meet on Zoom. So she was asking if the senior house is open, if they want to meet in February. And they were asking about the use of the senior house for the seniors. So I wasn't exactly sure. I told her to go talk to Barbara in Parks and Rec. So I think she was going to do that today.
I can verify it, but that is the appropriate way to do it.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
That's it. Thank you.
Great. Councilman Hurd?
Thank you, Mayor. Quick couple three. Open Space did have their reorg. Jill Wells is the chairman. Frank Spiziaro is co-chair. Historic Commission is actually tonight. So after I get off this, I'll find out what's going on over there. And the squad report from our wonderful first responders. Let's see. They received the vaccine. I'm happy to report that members of the squad received their first dose of the COVID vaccine last Friday at the grand opening of the Morris County Mega Vaccine site at the Rockaway Mall. I thought it was over at the college. I didn't realize it was at the mall. In addition to receiving the vaccine, the squad attended a press conference held by Governor Murphy about this, a new site that will be able to vaccinate 2,400 people a day. Holy moly. During the month of December, the squad answered 83 calls, which is up from 47 calls answered in November. Since mid-December, the squad has experienced a steady increase in patients with COVID or suspected of having COVID. And the squad is happy to announce the first new member of the year, Faith Carbone. Congratulations, Ms. Carbone, is a current college student who will be pursuing a career in the medical field. So again, I want to thank everybody, all of our first responders, especially that it's ticking up, whether it's the police, our first aid squad, or Company 1 or Company 2. They do a great job. They're putting themselves in harm's way, and we've got to do everything we can do to protect them. So congratulations. That is all I have for tonight.
Great. Thank you. Councilman Cole?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Planning Board met last night. Angela Caputo is the new chairman of the Planning Board. Roger Infeld is the vice chair, and Gerard Finemont is the recording secretary. We covered a few things that were left over from last year. We gave the final approval of the 5-lot subdivision on Mountain Ave, approved a couple signs that just needed final approval. Company 1 had their meeting this last Friday. Some of them also received the vaccine. Congratulations to Josh Aparo. Some of the things that Company 1 at the Company 1 meeting, training officer for 2021 will be Ryan Fitzsimmons. They appointed Mike Lewandowski as engineer. They went over some problem solving, the chain of command for problem solving, responsibilities of the line officers, and 2021 goals, improve morale, increase firematic response, and improve training. So that was Fire Company 1. Fire Company number 2 will meet this Thursday. DPW is on Colfax today, patching up some of the potholes. So I appreciate that. And I also just wanted to let the council know that as of last week, I was appointed to the Chilton Board, Community Board. It's a completely volunteer board. There's no compensation, strictly volunteer. It was a 3-month process for me to be appointed to that. So I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about Chilton. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Awesome. Councilman Finn?
None of my committees met, so I have nothing to report.
Gotcha. The only committee I had meet was planning board, and Dave went over it. Our environmental will be meeting tomorrow at 7:30 and the library next week. Okay. Next on the agenda is public comment. If anyone wishes to address the council, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized and provide your name and address for the record.
There are no hands are raised.
Okay, we now have approval of minutes, and there are no minutes presented for approval at this time. Next on the agenda is a closed session discussion. Mr. Oostdijk, will you please explain the procedure for holding a closed session?
Sure, Mayor, thank you. This is the part of our meeting in which the council meets in executive session to discuss confidential matters. When we meet live and in person, we ask folks who are in attendance, members of the public, to leave the room so that the council can proceed to have their executive session discussions. While doing our virtual meetings, we ask folks who are joining us by Zoom to log off Zoom so that the council can continue their meeting in executive session without members of the public present. Following the conclusion of the executive session meeting, which tonight there will be no action taken by no further action taken by the council, the meeting will be reopened simply for the purpose of adjourning. And with that, Mayor, I think we're ready for executive session.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R 2021-58, authorizing the Township Council to meet in executive session to discuss the sale of municipal property
I'll make
at
that
90
motion.
Village Road,
I'll
contract
second it.
property? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No action will be taken following the closed session. At this time, the public portion of the meeting is recessed for the closed session.
Excuse me, for the comedians in the meeting, you do have to state what the public session is about. So there's also this
I
contract
did, I
negotiation for
kept going
property.
even though every,
Did.
Rich,
Contract negotiation for property acquisition and potential litigation. Thank you.
Now it's official.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give the one remaining participant up. We have, everyone is adjourned. We are in closed session.
yes? Okay, we are back in public session. Mr. Oostdijk?
In executive session tonight, Mayor, the council had 4 discussion items. One discussion item was a piece of township-owned property, and a decision was made to authorize the municipal manager to prepare a resolution for that property to be once again listed for sale, or I should say offered for sale to the highest bidder. Second, the council was it was brought to the council's attention that an offer had been made or a conversation had been started regarding acquisition of a small parcel of property that has become available, and the discussion ensued and a decision was made not to pursue that acquisition. Third, the council was advised of a matter of potential litigation, mediation, arbitration involving the PBA and a contract issue, and has been brought up to date in direction. Information was given. Finally, the council it was brought to the council's attention again, the discussion of the acquisition of property on Sunset Avenue, and direction was given to the township manager to respond that the township at this time is not interested in an acquisition of that property. And that was our executive session, Mayor.
There being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:39 p.m.
Great job,
Great
Mayor.
job, Kyle.
Yes.
Yeah, great job.
You made it through your first one.
See you guys.
Good night, folks.
Night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
Good
Yep.
night.
Right.